Someone you know got something good this week, and for about 4 seconds, before you'd even decided how to feel about it, some part of you already hurt. Maybe it was a text, a promotion, a new house, a ring on a finger that wasn't yours. Maybe it was just a photo, someone smiling somewhere warm while you were sitting in traffic. You read it, and your face did the right thing. You typed the right words. So happy for you. You meant it too. That's the part that's confusing. You meant it, and it still hurt. You've probably filed that under being a bad friend, a character flaw you keep quiet about. In 2009, researchers put people in a brain scanner and had them read about someone else's success, more money, higher status, something the person actually cared about. The region that lit up was the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the same region that activates when your body is in physical pain. Not a metaphor, not, it feels like a punch. Your brain filed that text the same way it files a stubbed toe. Seneca wrote to a friend about this exact ache 2,000 years before anyone put a person in a scanner to prove it was real. He didn't have the imaging. He just watched people destroy their own peace over other men's good fortune and wrote it down anyway. I've smiled and said, "That's amazing," with my jaw doing something my mouth wasn't. Here's where it gets stranger. Not everyone's win does this to you. Your coworker's kid gets into a good school. You feel nothing, genuinely nothing, maybe a little happy for them. Your coworker gets the promotion you didn't apply for. That one lands differently. Same person. 2 announcements, 1 afternoon apart, only one of them left a mark. That's not random. In the same study, the sting only showed up when the win touched something the person actually valued about themselves. Watch a stranger win a marathon and you feel nothing, unless running is part of how you see yourself. Watch your coworker get the title you've been quietly wanting, and the reaction is instant, before you've even had time to be embarrassed about it. Which means the sting isn't really about them. It's a measurement. Whatever made your chest tighten just told you, more accurately than a journal ever could, what you still want and haven't said out loud. Here's the part that goes further than most people realize. A researcher named Abraham Tesser spent years studying this exact mechanism in siblings and close friends, and found something people do without ever deciding to do it. When someone close to you succeeds in an area that matters to your own identity, you don't just feel the sting once and move on. Some people quietly stop caring about that area, not because they lost interest naturally, because caring about it now comes with a cost. A younger sibling watches an older one become the family's athlete and finds a different thing to be good at, not out of respect, out of self-preservation. Redefine what matters to you and the comparison loses its teeth. Which means some of what you call finding your own path was never really a discovery. It was an exit. So if it's not about them, why does it still feel like it's about them? You can watch a stranger win the lottery on the news and feel nothing. Scroll past a celebrity's new yacht and feel nothing. Then your sister buys a house, and you feel something you can't quite name, and you can't figure out why the stranger's win didn't touch you and hers did. In 1998, 2 economists ran the numbers on exactly this. They looked at married sisters, thousands of pair, trying to find out what made one sister go back to work while the other stayed home. They checked local unemployment, wage rates, education. None of it moved the needle much. One number did. If a woman's sister had a husband who earned more than her own, she was 16 to 25% more likely to go get a paying job. Not because her family needed the money, because her sister's family had more of it. Think about how specific that is. Not if the economy is worse, not if her husband got a pay cut. One variable, her sister's household out-earning hers, moved thousands of women into the workforce who otherwise would have stayed home. The neighbor 2 towns over could triple his salary and it wouldn't touch her decision at all. It had to be her sister. You've probably assumed the sting scales with the size of the win. The bigger the fortune, the worse it should feel. It doesn't work that way. A stranger's yacht is too far away to register. A sister's house is close enough to reorganize your whole week. Distance is the variable, not dollars. I used to think I just wasn't a jealous person. Turns out I just hadn't been close enough to the right win yet. This is why the group chat is harder to sit with than the news ever is. Your old roommate landing the job you wanted does something a headline about a billionaire never will. And it's not because the job is worth more than the billionaire's fortune. It's because you can picture their desk, you know their commute. You've eaten dinner at their table. Proximity did what size alone never could. There's a reason this never actually runs out. even for the people you envy. Seneca had a name for this, and it's crueler than envy. He called it twofold. In one of his letters, he's warning a friend off chasing office status, the climb itself. He says pursuing it is afflicted with envy and in truth with a twofold envy, and then explains why. It's not just that you envy the people above you. It's that the people above you are very likely doing the exact same thing, aimed at whoever's above them. Picture whoever you've been comparing yourself to lately. The friend with the better title, the sibling with the bigger house. There's a decent chance they're doing this too. Just point it at someone you've never met, someone further up whatever ladder they think they're climbing. The person you envy might be lying awake envying someone else entirely, which means there's no rung where it stops, no title, no house, no number that makes you the one nobody's comparing themselves against. Seneca watched Roman senators do this without a single data point, without a scanner, without a study. He just watched people closely for long enough. Seneca didn't have a brain scanner. Turns out he didn't need one. For 50 years, average income in this country has climbed. Average happiness hasn't moved with it, not close. Economists have a name for the pattern, the Easterlin paradox, after the man who first tracked it. People get raises, neighborhoods get nicer cars, houses get bigger, and satisfaction stays roughly where it started, decade after decade, because the comparison point arises at exactly the same speed as the income does. You don't get richer relative to the person next to you. You just get richer next to a richer person. In 1998, researchers at Harvard asked people to choose directly. Option 1, you earn $50,000 a year. Everyone around you earns $25,000. Option 2, you earn $100,000. Everyone around you earns $200,000. More real money, less relative standing. Half the people asked picked option 1, less money in absolute terms on purpose just to stay ahead of the people next to them. That's Seneca's twofold envy, showing up in a Harvard survey instead of one man's letters. Same trap. Different century, different instruments, same result. There was never a number waiting at the top that was going to end this. Not the raise, not the house, not the title. The finish line moves exactly as fast as you do, which means it was never actually a finish line. It was just the horizon doing what horizons do. I used to think the number just wasn't big enough yet. It was never going to be big enough. So if chasing the position doesn't work, what does? There are only two people you ever actually measure your life against. One of them is a mistake. Researchers who study this found that people default to one of two reference points without ever choosing consciously. The first is other people, the sister, the coworker, the old roommate. The second is your own past self. Only one of those two comparisons tends to leave you better off, and it isn't the one your brain reaches for first. So the next time that 4-second flinch shows up, the one from the beginning of this, the one that hits before you've decided how to feel, the useful question isn't, how do I stop comparing? That's not really available to you. The brain does it automatically every time, whether you want it to or not. The useful question is, which comparison you're running? Whether the name in your head right now belongs to someone else or to a date. Swap it. Not him, not her. Just who you were a year ago, what you were carrying then that you're not carrying now, what you couldn't do then that you can do without thinking about it today. That comparison is always available, it's always accurate, and it's the only one that was ever actually about you. The ache in the beginning wasn't a flaw. It was your brain pointing at the wrong person. Pointed at someone else now, the one you already outgrew. If this is the version of comparison nobody explained to you before, the next video covers the one most people never admit to.